Hundreds of Nigerian passengers went to the airport and never left the ground. Missiles were flying in the Middle East, airspace were shut down, and global superpowers were trading attacks. But here's what most people don't understand. This was not just about war, it was about power, influence, and global control. Because when Dubai and Doha shut their skies, Africa's biggest travel route collapsed overnight. Tonight, we break down what really happened, who is affected, and why this crisis could reshape global aviation and politics. If you care about governance, global power, and Africa's place in world politics, please like this video, subscribe, and stay with us. It started with missile strike. Iran launched attack on US military bases in the Middle East. Explosions were reported in Abu Dhabi, Doha, Manama, Kuwait, and Riyadh. This came after a joint missile strike by the United States and Israel on Iran. Within hours, the region's airspace began to close. The United Arab Emirates shut its skies. Qatar Airways suspended operations. Dubai Airport stopped flights indefinitely. Now pause. Why does this matter to Nigeria? Because thousands of Nigerians travel through Dubai and Doha every week. These cities are major connecting hubs between Africa, Europe, Asia, and America. When those hubs stop working, flights from Abuja and Lagos were delayed or cancelled. Passengers flying from Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja were stranded. Some were given hotel rooms, others waited in uncertainties. One passenger was flying from Abuja to Doha, then connecting to Hanoi. His first flight was delayed. His connecting flight was cancelled. Another Lagos to Doha flight was delayed, and according to flight tracking data, over 500 flights from Dubai were cancelled in one day. That is not a delay. That is a system shock. This is bigger than flight delay. The Middle East is the center of global air travel. Cities like Dubai and Doha are built to connect the world. For years, airlines like Emirates and Qatar Airways invested billions to become global transit giants. But here's the deeper issue. When global tension rises, civilian systems become vulnerable. Airspace closure are a safety measure because no country wants a civilian aircraft catch in military crossfire. But here's the contradiction. Global travel depends heavily on political unstable regions, and Nigeria relies on this hub for business, education, tourism, and medical travel. So when conflict erupts thousands of kilometers away, Nigerian citizens pay the price. This is globalization in real time. Let's talk strategy. Iran's attack was described as a reprisal. The United States and Israel had already struck Iranian targets. This is not random. It is a calculated message between power blocks. Every missile launch is also a diplomatic signal. Now consider this. When airspace closes, airlines lose billions, insurance costs rise, oil prices may spike, investor confidence shakes. In moments like this, geopolitical power shifts quietly. Who controls energy routes? Who controls air corridors? Who influences global trade flow? These questions sit beneath the surface of every headline. Airlines like Emirates, Air India, Ethiopia Airlines, Saudia, Kenya Airways all suspended or cancelled flights. Each airline had to make its own risk decision. There was no single global aviation command center. That shows how fragmented global crisis response to. Here is the part nobody is talking about. Africa's dependence on Middle East transit hub creates strategic vulnerability. Why does Nigeria not have a global transit hub that can absorb this shock? Why must so many African travelers rely on foreign air corridors? This is not criticism, it is a structural reality. When UAE airspace shut down, Qatar Airways cancel flights. When Doha closes, Rwanda Air suspend operation. The domino effect reveals something deeper. Africa's aviation infrastructure is connected but not fully independent. And that has political implications. The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria issued a travel advisory. They urge passengers to contact airline directly. That is standard protocol. But for stranded travelers, advisory do not remove stress. People miss weddings, business meetings, medical appointments, university deadlines. Airline offer rebooking and refund, but uncertainty remain. Here is a question. In times of global crisis, who protect the everyday citizen? Government can warn, airline can reschedule, but the emotional and financial cost falls on the passenger, and public trust depends on how well institutions respond during stress. But here is the bigger concern. What if this conflict continues for weeks, not days? Extended airspace closures could mean higher ticket prices, longer travel routes, rising cargo costs, and delay import and export. That affect economies. Nigeria import goods through air freight. Businesses rely on predictable logistics. If insurance premium increases for flights over certain region, costs will pass to consumer. And politically, any global crisis tests leadership. Can governments diversify travel routes? Can African nations strengthen regional aviation cooperation? Can new transit hubs emerge within the continent? Crisis often exposes weakness, but they also create opportunity. Here are three possible scenarios to look out for. If tensions cool quickly, airspace reopens, flights resume, it means it's a short-term disruption only. Then the second scenario is that if low-level tension continues, airlines permanently adjust routes, ticket prices rise gradually. While the third scenario is that if conflict escalates, more countries close airspace, global aviation enter prolonged instability. Each part carries political and economic consequences. And Nigeria, like many developing nations, must prepare for volatility in a connected world. Missiles in the Middle East grounded passengers in Abuja. That is how interconnected our world has become. This story is not just about cancelled flights, it is about power, vulnerability, and global dependence. What do you think? Should African nations invest more in independent aviation, or is global air travel too dependent on unstable regions? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like this video if you value investigative political analysis. Subscribe for deep, fact-based reporting on governance, power, and global strategy. Because in politics, nothing happens in isolation, and we will continue to follow where the power moves next.